Lowe's knows that more projects mean more tools. For a limited time, new and existing MyLowe's Rewards credit card members can get 12-month special financing on purchases of $299 or more, in-store and online. Don't wait to get the things you need. Get special financing today. Lowe's. We help. You save. Now through August 27th, choose 12-month special financing on purchases of $299 or more. Offer subject to credit approval and cannot be combined. Minimum monthly payments required. See store or Lowe's.com for details. Lowe's knows tough jobs call for tougher tools. The new DeWalt Elite Series power tool accessories are built to last for the pro who doesn't stop. With precision fitment, durability, and impact resistance, finishing jobs faster has never been easier. Shop the new DeWalt Elite Series at an everyday low price exclusively at Lowe's. We help, you save.
This is James Arnold Taylor, and you're listening to Coffee with Kenobi. I have a good feeling about this.
Hello, friends, and welcome to Coffee with Kenobi, your family-friendly, spoiler-free Star Wars podcast where intelligent conversation and a splash of humor bring fans together from across the galaxy. I'm your host, Dan Zare, educator and Star Wars author. Whether you're a lifelong Jedi Master or just hopped off your first Star Cruiser, grab your calf and join us as we explore the mythology, philosophy, and wonder of a galaxy far, far away. One conversation at a time. Coffee with Kenobi is more than a podcast. It's a community. Together we celebrate the people, stories, and experiences that make Star Wars so special, creating a space where fans can come together and share their voices. Thank you to the official travel partner of CWK, MEI Travel and Mouse Fan Travel. Check out coffeewithkenobi.com/mousefantravel for a no-cost, no-obligation quote, and let them know Coffee with Kenobi and Dan Zare sent you. On today's show, it is a show of the CWK Pour-Over variety. That's right. If you are a member of the CWK Alliance, then you are a part of the CWK Coffee with Kenobi Patreon family. And I want you to get a chance to listen to this show if you're somewhat curious or intrigued by what is on CWK Pour-Over. So this is a show we recorded a few years ago. It's myself, Tom Gross, and the co-creator of Coffee with Kenobi, Cory Clubb. Both of them, of course, are very dear friends of mine. And we looked at our top 5 tracks from the Star Wars Prequel series. It's great fun. Should include some great debate opportunities for you. So pull up a chair, grab your favorite coffee mug, and let's have some Coffee with Kenobi CWK Pour-Over style.
Coffee, tea, or me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's Coffee with Kenobi.
Hello and welcome back to CWK Pour-Over, our weekly show for our Patreon listeners. We love talking to you guys each week, and we're excited to talk to you each week. We're back in the swing of things. Here we are. This is show 154, 254. I'm messed that up already. Let's see, 154. We're not in 200s yet. We'll get there.
We'll get there.
But 154 is the show here, and we're excited to be back talking to you guys about all kinds of crazy things. And returning to a familiar topic, we want to kind of play out the rest of the musical elements of Star Wars. And tonight we're going to be tackling the prequel original soundtrack. So before we do that, though, we want to introduce our co-hosts. And let's start off with Dan Z.
Well, look at you wearing your One Nation coffee hat.
Boom!
Woo-hoo. Did you order that, or did they send one to you?
No, I ordered it. I thought it was cool. I thought it was pretty cool looking. So
very stylish, my friend. Very stylish. Well, it's great to be back. Just got back from an amazing vacation in Walt Disney World, and I'm looking forward to more conversations about that and sharing tips about Disney in the near future. But tonight, we're going to talk all about the prequel trilogy soundtracks and give our top 5s, and that's going to be fun. And a lot of people asked for this after we did our original trilogy one, so hey, let's go backwards to go forwards.
That's how it's done, right? You start with the originals, then you go backwards and forwards. Like that's the way it's set up.
Lucasian,
so you have to keep the theme going. So excellent. Well, let's also introduce our other guest host. I already messed it up. I tried so hard.
Boy.
It's all right.
Tom Gross.
Hello, everybody. It's great to be here, as always, talking with my friends. And I got my lineup set.
Okay.
I'm not saying anything else. The lineup is set. I'm not changing the scorecard.
Okay.
We're going.
I like it.
Wind is blowing out. Let's do it.
Let's talk about this real quick, and we'll go in order of introductions. So Dan, Tom, myself, and let's talk about a little bit maybe. Let's just pull back the nostalgia curtain and think about like when we kind of first heard this music, and making your list. This is a different type of list, I think, from what compared to the original trilogy list, because the original trilogy list really kicked everything off for Star Wars. This is something a little bit different, I think. But I want to hear you guys tell your stories on how you came with your list and some nostalgia feelings you had as you created that list.
Yes. The prequel trilogy soundtracks are wonderful, but they don't hold the same emotional resonance with me that the original trilogy does, because that's not the Star Wars that I grew up with. But it's the Star Wars that I absolutely love. I love the prequels. I've always been a big fan of them. But the difference is that, like, if I heard a song, besides a select significant couple of them, I couldn't necessarily tell you the names of the songs. Mm-hmm. So what I did was I got on Spotify, I flipped through all the soundtracks again, and reinforcing what I thought to be true, how they thought they might sound. And it was typically accurate in what my brain had thought, and placing it with the scenes in the films themselves. Mm-hmm. Mason helped me. And cool. I feel really good about them, but they're definitely heavily centered on one specific movie of the prequel trilogy. I will say that.
Okay, Tom, how about you?
Yeah. So listening to these, I really felt like they had a different tone to them than the original trilogy. So looking at and looking for things that really resonated with me was different. Some of the qualities of the instruments was different. The style, I thought, even though it's John Williams, it's very definite. John Williams, of course, but I felt like it had a different flavor to it. And so when I was picking out the songs, I went with the things that I found to be unique as a fan, but then also there are 2 songs or maybe 3 on here that are always like right at the edge of my memory, and anything could click it to make it go. And so I don't know, like that's kind of how I approached it. I found it interesting, Dan, I mentioned to you that I had all these. I have the first 2, but for some odd reason I did not buy the Revenge of the Sith soundtrack. Oh. I don't know why. So, but I had them on. I had the first 2 on CD, and so I had to go through YouTube because I don't have a Spotify account. I went through YouTube playlists to listen to the Revenge of the Sith. So yeah, that's kind of how I came about it.
What about you, Cory?
Yeah, for me, I remember this music coming out. And kind of from the trailer, and maybe it wasn't necessarily used in the trailer. I can't have to look back at that old trailer, but it definitely has that nostalgia feel to it for me. And like you guys mentioned, this wasn't really an easy list to make. I can't really pop these off the top of my head. There was like 2 solid that where I knew right away, like, oh, these are definitely on my list. And the others, I had to do a little research and kind of like you said, Dan, think about the scenes that were played out. And correlate the music, because I like the scene and the music plays along with that. Like you said, John Williams is still a master at what he does. But also, Tom, like you mentioned, John Williams, there's some time that's passed, right? Star Wars has come on his own. John Williams obviously has done more other films other than just Star Wars and whatnot. But he's obviously a master at what he does. And I think in some of these, there's a lot more of gravitas to him. He's got a lot more at his disposal to work with and kind of tinker with and just really grow the franchise musically. So I think that's what we get with these soundtracks, and I think that's unique. But again, it doesn't stick out in my mind a whole lot. I can't name necessarily a bunch of them that were like, oh, like I can listen to anything off the New Hope and know exactly where that is. So they're not as key for me for those reasons. But let's dig into our list, right? So let's start with number 5. We'll go through our sequence here. So number 5 pick, Dan, to you.
Number 5 for me is a track titled "Grievous Speaks to Lord Sidious." It's basically kind of a choral thing, very sweeping, kind of swashbucklery from the villain's point of view. And it's whenever you see Grievous, it's basically his theme as he is flying in to talk to Count Dooku, or whenever he's just planning or plotting with the battle droids and he's sweeping his cape around. And it's pretty fun. It's got an epic kind of jaunt to it, and that's probably a weird way to put it, but I think it actually fits. So yeah, that's my number 5.
Nice.
I like that one. I considered the I don't know that I consider it for my top 5, but it certainly was almost on my honorable mention. You said exactly right. It has that like jaunty feel, almost like you can picture in your head the movement of Grievous. Yeah. I like it. All right. My number 5 comes from Revenge of the Sith, which I find to be a really interesting album. And I don't know if you guys noted this, or you might talk about this later on, but when you look at the album, the end of it are short bits of songs, just song after song after song after song after song, and they're all like 3 minutes long, and it's very sort of disconcerting to me as a listener, because it kind of starts and it ends, and it starts and it ends. But this song is early on the soundtrack, I believe. And this is titled Palpatine's Teachings. It begins with that low growl chanting that kind of brings that dramatic irony that we know what's going to happen. We know, and is this the moment? And I can almost see the reds and the blacks of the film, and I think that song actually begins when they're in the circus or whatever that is, and they're having the opera house, and they're having that conversation, and there's those bubbles and things, and you've got that kind of underneath, and we all know what's going to happen. The tension is, and the creepy factor with this song, and the music is really thick. There's the low undertone a little bit later in that track of the Imperial March kind of comes in. You hear that, but then you also get that that Twin Suns theme that follows the Imperial, that gives you this sense of, what do we feel when the Twin Suns song comes, other than a touch of hope, or a feeling of hope, as Luke looks across at the suns, the binary suns. But that is in there, that follows the Imperial March. But you definitely get the pull of the light side and the dark side as it comes to a conclusion. But then it has this like heroic fanfare at the end, and then it has a long tailing fade away at the end of the song. I loved it when I remember it vividly in the movie, and it is one that stays with me.
Nice. My 5 is titled of the film. I pulled it from Revenge of the Sith, and it's kind of the one that comes off the Star Wars opening roll credits, the crawl, and it goes right into this melody, this Revenge of the Sith melody. And this sequence pulls out for me because I always remember this scene with the Jedi fighters flying around, Anakin, Obi-Wan flying around through that great star sequence, battleships, and they're trying to get into maneuver in for Count Dooku. And it's just a really upbeat, it reminds me of the Millennium Falcon scene, the asteroids we talked about on the last time we talked about music tracks. It's kind of that bump, 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 bump. That kind of that quick little motion, and it goes right along with the space fighters that are like doing their thing, and they're looping around and doing the maneuvers and things, and very engaging. And this, you kind of scale back to the battleships and the ginormous battleships, and these two little fighters going in and out, zipping in and out, and it plays along with that very well. It's really a nice opening. It's one of the better openings in the prequels. Just really kicking it off for this film, and it just I think it's really engaging and energetic for a theme jumping into the film like that. So that's my number 5.
Awesome.
Cool. I have such a hard time not choosing all these songs from fight scenes. Like you're talking, because they're all like energetic and all that kind of thing. But yeah, I love that opening.
Number 4. My number 4 is from The Phantom Menace. I didn't say the last one was from Revenge of the Sith, but I thought it was obvious because it's Grievous, and that's the only one he's in. But my number 4 is the droid invasion and the appearance of Darth Maul. This is the iconic music of the opening sequence when the Trade Federation invades Naboo and all those battle droids come out of their ships and they use their STAPs and they traverse the surface of Naboo right before it's just the invasion. Like it's a droid invasion. Dun 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 dun. You know, I'm sure that doesn't sound anything like it. In my mind, it sounds exactly like it. But my wife claims I'm not good at humming, so that's all right. But she's not here, so. But I love this one. It was harder not to put it higher, but it'll be more clear why it's not. But it reminds me very much of the PlayStation Phantom Menace game that I played over and over again back in 1999 when the movie came out. And that song was playing in the intro to when you get your game ready to go, through most of that original board itself, when Qui-Gon is on Naboo, and it's just great fun. It really speaks to the mirth and the unique tone of the Phantom Menace, especially in comparison with the original trilogy.
Excellent.
Nice. My number 4 is I was torn between two of them, but this one actually has the song that I was torn between, so I went with this one. It is my only selection from the Attack of the Clones, and that is the Love Pledge and the Arena. The one that I was bobbling, going back and forth on is the love theme from, and I think that's
Across
actually
the Stars.
what they call it.
Yep, it is.
Okay, so that's the other one that I was sort of going back and forth between, but since it was in this one as well, I went with it because this one is more dynamic and has a little bit more to it. So, it starts off with a feeling of the dire situation that they're in. Anakin, Padme captured and being sent out to this arena to die. But then the song quickly turns to the love theme from the clones, from the Clone Wars, reprised here, and then it turns, and I'm a sucker for a great march. You guys, you know that from my top choice from from the original trilogy with the Imperial March. I just love that march that comes out, and I think it is it the same march from Phantom Menace? It's very similar, if not. It's
Similar.
got that
Similar concepts. Yeah.
It's very similar. But what I love about this march is about 5 different times you're solid into that march, and then there's some kind of an interlude where I can't picture what's happening on screen, but to listen to it, like there's a change in the music and something happens, but then the march kicks back in and you're back into the march again, and then there's another interlude, and it goes through about 4 or 5 of those passages where march, interlude, march, interlude, march, interlude, and it's like, oh my gosh, when is this going to end? And you just sort of get a feeling of what they are going through in that arena. And of course, they come across Obi-Wan in there, and they've got the battle with those 3 creatures, which I love the monsters in Star Wars. So this really helps, give the sense of urgency to it. So that's my number 4, the Love Pledge, the Arena from Attack of the Clones.
Excellent.
You're just a romantic, aren't you?
Yeah.
Well, my next selection for number 4 is not romantic. It's called Battle of the Heroes from Revenge of the Sith. This one is really interesting because I had to go back, like I said, I had to go back and do a little research, and I was listening through this, and I was kind of letting it play and doing some other things, and I thought, wait, what song is this? I had to go back and look at it, and I was like, this is really intense. And I went back and found the scene it plays in. It's right after Obi-Wan and Anakin and Padme are on that like landing pad. He strangles her and like kind of condemns her, and they argue and have that big blow up fight. Three's Company, right? So then they start battling. And it's like, you can tell with the music, it's like the music is like unsure what it wants to do. It's like these back and forth kind of gestures almost. And that's what they're doing with the lightsabers. They're going down hallways, going through like command centers and walking into this lava pit in this area. And you can tell that with the music too. There's a struggle. There's a struggle almost with the music itself. And I think that's what's unique about that, because there's, like you said, Dan, there's such a lot of conflicts in these three movies that are the music really sweeps us up into it as well. It's not what's going on the screen, it's what we're hearing, and this is part of it. I think for this track, and it's cool to hear it because it's not one I would necessarily pick out all the time, but you hear it and go, man, this is really good. Why don't I like this more often? But yeah, I think it was a cool pick, and I have to add to my normal rotation. Battle of the Heroes from
Nice. Nice.
Cool. I like it.
That's the one I was humming before we started recording.
Yep. Got it. Okay.
Anakin. Number 3 for me is similar to yours, but it's called Anakin versus Obi-Wan. They both have the same dun, 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 the same
Yep.
dun, 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 but the Anakin versus Obi-Wan is more focused, more intense, and there's no kind of prelude to it that's more soft. It's just the all-in action stuff. Mm-hmm. And this one is one that we listen to pretty regularly at our house. Between this one and Duel of the Fates and the Return of the Jedi song, when those three songs come on, Mesa and I are got our lightsabers out and we're ready to battle across the Zare household. And it's just a tremendous one. It's frenetic. It's intense. It's somewhat sad because these two friends that are like brothers are having this duel to the death. But at its core, it's one of the best, arguably one of the best action sequences in the entire history of Star Wars. And this soundtrack is the pulse of that. It's like you put on cruise control, kind of.
Ah, nice. I like that.
So it's called Anakin versus Obi-Wan.
Cruise control. I like that way you described that. That's cool.
It is cool. So my number 3, we are in tune, gentlemen. We are in tune because Dan, my number 3, Anakin versus Obi-Wan.
Nice.
Can you believe? Out of all the music in these 3 films, that's what we both came up with. But yeah, I ditto everything you said. The one thing I would add is that it throws in it brings back several different themes. It's got the Imperial theme in it. It's got the Twin Suns theme in it. And then it has that high choral music that you referred to earlier that through these prequels, I came to associate that high choral with the Sith. And I could be way off on that. That's just where my brain goes when I hear that, all that kind of stuff. It's like drama, something bad is going to happen, or there's a bad feeling going on. And so all of that is in there. And
it's got Duel of the Fates chords in it too, I believe.
Yes, I think you're right. It does. And so I thought that is definitely a solid number 3 for me, because the first 2 are like way ahead.
Way ahead. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I like it.
Mine are way ahead, but they're ahead. Yeah.
That's why they're 1 and 2.
Yeah,
but there's not a big gap.
Kind of, see, for me, it's a big gap, but I don't know. We'll see what you guys think when we get up there.
Yes.
My number 3 is the confrontation with Count Dooku.
Ooh, fun.
And I wanted to be, I wanted to include a track from each one of the movies, because I just want to be nice. And I was trying to think of other things that happening in the movies. What scenes do I like? And this one came up because I remember watching this on my first midnight showing of a Star Wars movie was Attack of the Clones, and it was with my girlfriend and wife now, Holly, and she fell asleep during it. But
first date, right?
It wasn't first date. Oh. It was later on. But I remember we tried to watch Phantom Menace, then because we were going to go see Attack of the Clones, and she ended up falling asleep, which was kind of a joke. But this is one where I remember also like cheering at a movie theater, because when this happens, this music comes on, Yoda is coming out and he's doing his thing, and you don't expect that, and you're like, what is happening? It's just like kind of mind blowing. There's kind of this quarrel of music and this battle going on, but it's just like it's kind of, it's not like a Yoda theme, but it's it's kind of like it's a lightsaber battle. But like we've said before, it's just kind of like this community of back and forth and struggle. But what's cool about it, I like about it, is it plays up into the very end theme, which was kind of that it kind of goes right into that, and that's just like you're kind of like this. The same takeaway you get from Empire, where things are kind of on the downplay. Like we've kind of like had a bad run of it. Anakin got his arm chopped off, and there's a lot of bad things going on, and it's just this weird, intense moment. But you're also excited with this, and so obviously with my girlfriend being there, I was a Star Wars fan. She really wasn't, and it was just like this moment of all coming together. And so whenever I hear that, I'm like, this feels good. This feels right. It gets me those nostalgic feelings for that reason.
Cool.
Love it.
Yeah.
I love when you tell that story. It's pretty fun. All right.
Good story.
Number two.
Yep.
Number two is one that I typically don't aim for these kind of feels, but this one's just too powerful to me. There's about an hour in Revenge of the Sith where it's almost perfect. And some of it isn't, but this part is. This is called Anakin's Betrayal. This is when things go very south, very, very rapidly, and it's very, very sad. It's very emotional. Everyone feels betrayed. Everyone feels hurt. I think Anakin, at his core, feels like he's let himself down, but he's too far in to do anything about it. And obviously, that's a pretty famous thing when it comes to the history of the Star Wars lore. But it's just very heavy and sad, and you can hear the pain through everyone in this track, and it's echoed a couple of times during the immolation scene, and when Padme realizes that she's lost her husband to the dark side of the Force, and no matter how many times I see it, just rips my gut apart. It's really Shakespearean.
Wow.
Yeah, that Revenge of the Sith soundtrack is, it's tough, and I know exactly what part you're talking about, and that song as well. So. Great choice.
Just thinking about it. Oof.
Yeah.
Well, Dan, was that one you knew right off the top of your head that was a choice for the top?
No, I wasn't. But then when I was listening to, through little snippets of each one, I was like, oh yeah. It's one I try not to think about. But when you think about it, it just sticks with you. Yeah.
Good call.
So not necessarily one I listen to a lot, but it has an incredible emotional heft.
Yeah,
it does. Absolutely. So okay, we're going to jump the chasm for me, because these two songs were when we said that we're doing the prequels, I was like, these are my top two. I just wrote them down. I didn't even think about it, and then I went and listened to the 3 soundtracks to remind myself of what else was out there, because I knew, obviously it's all great, but it's how do you start pulling out the stuff that really means something to you. So number 2. Was very controversial when the CD came out, because it came out before the movie, and it had a title that gave away a major piece, and you all know what it is. It's from the Phantom Menace, Qui-Gon's Noble End.
Yep.
This song, oh man, it just, without the music, the 2 blades coming out of Darth Maul's dual lightsaber may not have had the presence, just that, you just, I'll never forget that moment in the theater. And I will say, so when I said earlier at the opening that these 3 movies or these 3 soundtracks have a different feel, this song is one of the songs that really pulls that out. And for me, I think John Williams used percussion, particularly in the first 2 movies. It's not quite so much in Revenge of the Sith. That has a different feel. But the first 2 movies, the percussion is magnificent. I love the way he uses different pieces, everything from what sounds like. I'm just going purely by sounds here, you guys. I don't have any details. I haven't researched it, but there are places where I hear finger cymbals and different types of drums and the xylophone use. And this is one where the percussion on this one is magnificent. You have the xylophone just going crazy. Oh, and this is the one where I'm almost certain there's a finger cymbal that bings in there. The solo drum where everything's quiet and it goes bom, 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 bom. Bom, 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 bom. It's got that tribal feel that, we didn't know much about the Zabraks at that time. At least I didn't when I watched that. And it just, his look looks very tribal. And so it's really threatening when that solo drum is just pounding, and you're like, whoa, boy, it's something. This is amazing. This is powerful. And then of course, we know what happens in this song. So this one can sit in my head and haunt me. Haunt me. Oh, I forgot the part. It has that whispering chant. I don't know what they're saying, but that's what I hear. So that's my number 2, Qui-Gon's Noble End.
That's good. That's very good.
Good one.
Yeah.
My number 2, I agree with you. For my 1 and 2, they were immediately on my list because I was like, yep, definitely these two. And this one is just, to me, you talk about romantic, and the prequels obviously have some romance to them, and this is one that just really is just a beautiful track all around. It's Across the Stars, and it's a very popular track with Star Wars fans. And to me, there's a part in this that has, I don't know musical instruments, but I think it's the harps, and it has that sweeping motion, and like, it's just like that. It's just really, it's just, I don't know, it just hits different on this track for some reason. But then also it has an ominence. There's an ominence to this track too that kind of gets later on down in the song. And there's a heavy weight there, like you mentioned. I think you had a good part on saying like a lot of these musical numbers are there's some lightness to them, there's some action to them, and there's also this melancholy feel to them. And the Cross Stars, it has a very sweeping saga, very romantic feel to it, but then it does have this pull in where it's like, hey, this is some serious stuff. Something's going to go down. Like something bad is happening. There's always this rain cloud almost if you're hanging over you. But this track alone is just really, I think, just a beautiful piece, and it has a lot of Star Wars elements in it. But also, I think it can be pulled out of Star Wars and just really, I don't know. I think it could be used in other ways. I don't know how you turn off the Star Wars-ness of it, but it's just a beautiful piece. And I've really always enjoyed listening to it, and whenever it comes on, I kind of like just listen to it and just really enjoy the way it kind of moves through the piece. So I like it a lot. Across the Stars.
Nice.
The third article I ever proposed to StarWars.com was about the Star Wars prom that I was in charge of, and it was titled Across the Stars, which was nice and subtle because if you didn't know it, you could say, oh, it's just a pleasant, midnight sky prom theme. But we played that song at prom, and everybody danced to it. It was super cool. It was super cool.
That's cool.
Yeah,
there's totally a lot to that. Like that is
beautiful.
Just that's an interesting way to put that Across the Stars, because because again it works on so many levels. It doesn't say, oh, this is Luke's theme or this is Leia's theme. This is something across the stars. This is a love that stretches across sagas.
Right.
It's really interesting. That's
like
cool.
how Tom and I will feel when you live in Tennessee.
Across the states.
Across the states.
We're down to number 1, aren't we?
Man.
We are.
We
down to
are.
one. This
All right.
is it.
This was a very easy one.
Easy one.
This is the one I didn't have to look up. I had to look at what it's titled.
Oh.
But it's actually your number 5, Corey. But that's my number 1.
Wow.
Star Wars and the Revenge of the Sith. To me, in all the epic openings of the Star Wars films, this is the best opening, besides A New Hope, probably, of any Star Wars film. The epic sweeping score. It's the only time they take the Star Wars heroes theme and they darken it and they texturize it and they make it match the tone of this film. It's like a dark version of the heroes theme because Anakin becomes sort of a dark hero, very evident about 15, 20 minutes into this film. And boom, the pounding bass and the explosions in the background and the lights flashing and them swooping in and out. It's very heroic, but it's also very like you're a little taken aback and it's a little nerve-wracking because there's tension. There's great tension, but it's just a dynamic version. And John Williams never did anything like this after that with the original, the actual Star Wars theme itself. But man, when he did it, it is so memorable. When you have that cruising through your surround sound, there's just nothing like it. I think it's a stunning piece of music that actually matches the narrative tone beat by beat with the dialogue and the acting and what we are set up for, which at that time we thought was the last Star Wars film. We were finally going to see how Darth Vader became Darth Vader, what his actual fall from grace was, because we had no actual idea. And I feel like this music brought out, it almost took us out of the film to say, hey, we as the creators of this story, we have the same anxiety that you have. We're leading you to a dark place. Hold on tight. And boy, did it deliver.
Love it.
Wow.
Good pick.
Cool. I love that explanation, by the way.
Thank you.
Okay, my number one. This song, to me, defines the prequels. This song comes to my mind at many different times, in totally unrelated events to Star Wars. Sometimes when I'm mowing the yard and I just want to get it done, this song comes to mind. When I'm out on the road and I'm on mile like 54 on my bike and I'm getting tired, this song comes to mind, and it is the Duel of the Fates from The Phantom Menace. To me, I don't know. I can't think of a song that fits the prequels better. And so, this sets the tone for the whole trilogy. It's a high, powerful chorus that, again, like I said earlier, this is where it began for me. This is where I started associating the Sith with this chorus that we would hear. And then of course you get the low strings, and then do 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 do. I mean, how do you not get that stuck in your head in the most powerful ways? Whether it's Star Wars or just something that you need to get done, man, that's the underlying song that's going behind me when I'm trying to like focus and get something done. And what's so cool about it is, in my re-listening to it, I don't know, after I listened to it again, you think it's over. It has the dun 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 dun, and then before you know it, it's one more. And I looked at the time on the player, and it said 40 seconds, and it does another quick boom, and it's done. Holy cow! I'm exhausted, but it's because something productive just happened because I listened to Duel of the Fates. It is just a most magnificent song. And maybe if we ever do a top 5 of the whole 9 movies, that might still be my number one.
Wow. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
I'm going to comment on that after we hear Cory's number one.
Okay.
That won't be hard because my number one is also Duel of the Fates. I agree with you, Tom. You put in a good sense of if this is the defining song from the prequels. I think, like you said, like when I hear the song, I think of prequels, obviously, but I think it's because this is a piece we had never heard before. Again, like I said in the beginning of the top of the show, was John Williams had a lot to work with here. He didn't just have a small amount of time and like a small little orchestra. He was using everything at his disposal. And in this song, we hear these voices, these the humming and the voices. There's a video out there. Somebody had put the words to it, silly words, and it's not the words, but it gets caught in your head sometimes. But that had never been used in Star Wars before. Those voices, the kind of I don't know what you call it, the operatic, not operatic, but I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I'd say that works.
Yeah, that works.
Those haunting. It's very haunting voices, but it's that. It's funny. It's a funny connection, but there's a movie, a comedy movie called Spinal Tap from I think it's the 80s or 70s or 80s, where the guys talk about their amps their volume level goes up to 11, which is not true. Spinal Tap, yeah, and it doesn't go up to 11. But in this Duel of the Fates, I feel like John Williams has turned up to 11.
I love it.
And it's that bomb, and look blow your hair back and like what? Because the entrance of Darth Maul and those doors splitting open, and there he is. He just looks up with his hooded robe, and then like this changed the movie entirely. It's just like, okay, this just got super serious. Like, I'm getting goosebumps right now. It's such an entrance, and you think about just other films where the villain enters or there's this captive moment. This is one that really stands out. Like you said, this is a really powerful theme. And again, it's never been done before in Star Wars. So to kick this off in the first prequel movie is like setting the stage, like going, oh my goodness, this is crazy. Like this is a brand new character, brand new Sith, and he's dangerous. You alluded to about Qui-Gon. So again, this Duel of Fates is a Star Wars staple in my head, coming from the prequels. Number one pick for me.
I mean, it's a slam dunk, right? I mean, it's
Absolutely.
noticeably absent from my list, and Mason was like, what? What do you mean? But I didn't pick it for the same reason I didn't pick the Imperial March for the last one, because I've heard this song so much that it's lost some of its effect on me. And except for when I'm watching The Phantom Menace, that you could argue that scene with Darth Maul showing up and We'll Take the Long Way and all that great stuff that happens in that exquisite build-up, I mean, that's about as good as it gets in cinema, period. But I've just heard that song so many times, and at so many events, and at so many things that it doesn't affect me the same way that I used to. And that's kind of stinky, but I'm okay with it. I mean, it's just a part of it.
I think that's really fair, because we mentioned that in the last review, of our top 5 for original trilogy. And I think that's an interesting argument to put up, because it's like, as Star Wars fans, we tend to hear this music more often than not. And you walk through Galaxy's Edge, or you're in a sequence of something, and you're like, oh, I know this theme. It almost pulls you out of the event, or pulls you out of that motion. Go, okay, I've done this before.
It reminds me of Episode 1 hype, which was so huge, bigger than anything I think we've ever experienced in Star Wars. And then it became oversaturated, and that song was everywhere.
It's like Let It Go from Frozen. That sounds dumb, but that's very, very true.
No, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Oh, fair assessments. When I was playing it tonight, Kaylee was in the next room, and I said to her, "Hey, what character do you think of when you hear this?" And I totally, like, she was doing math, so I ripped her brain out of something. She goes, "I don't know, Obi-Wan," and then I was like, "Oh, okay," and then. Not 15 seconds later, she pops into the room and she goes, "Dad, I don't know what I was thinking. That's Darth Maul. It's Darth Maul for sure."
Yeah.
I said, "Okay, I was just curious. I just wanted to know who you thought of," because that's who I think of when I, anytime I hear that Darth Maul is it. So
you think of the close-up of him,
but
can't introduce
fair assessment though. Fair assessment though, Dan. It just maybe overdone, just in fandom, but. I can't set it aside personally. Yeah, it's great.
No, it's fair. I mean, it's great.
Yeah.
Good picks, you guys. I will say this is a tough list.
It was.
Just to review it, and it's nice to review this over time, because the prequels sometimes don't get a lot of love. And walking through this list is like, oh man, I need to watch movies again. These, I need to revisit this. I think it's because you're different seasons of life, and you see it in different ways. I know, Dan, for the longest time, you've made the case for A Phantom Menace being such a great kids introduction to Star Wars. Mm-hmm. And I remember taking my kids to the theaters when they put them back out. And they had a blast at Phantom Menace. It made me love Phantom Menace so much more. And this music obviously has a lot to do with it. So, that does it for this show. This does it for Pour-Over. Any last thoughts out there?
People who were 8 when they saw The Phantom Menace are now 30. That's my last thought. So for them, it's not, that's the Star Wars they grew up with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like the prequel love, or the prequel criticism is definitely eroded since the sequel trilogy has come out.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, listeners, we're excited to hear your list, your top 5 of prequel music tracks. Leave them down below on the comment list. We'd love to hear what you think. What are some of your favorites? What are some that bring up great memories, good feelings? And where were you when you first heard these music playing in theaters and whatnot? So we'd love to hear that from you guys. We appreciate all the feedback. We appreciate all the great time we have. And Dan's taking a picture of me with his phone for some reason.
This is
I appreciate that.
We're making an Instagram story.
Oh, hey, we're on Instagram. So if you're hearing this now, we were on Instagram. Go check that out. If you haven't followed us there, check us out there as well. So thanks again for staying with us for this weekly Pour-Over show, and we'll see you next time.
Listening to Coffee with Kenobi, you are, with Dan Z, the podcast you're looking for. This is...
just like that, our journey through the galaxy for today has come to a close. Thanks for listening to and supporting Coffee with Kenobi, where fans come together to think, learn, and discuss the galaxy we all love. I'm truly grateful you chose to spend part of your day with me, and I hope that you enjoy listening to and getting a preview of CWK Pour-Over. If you look through the thread of your podcast feed, sure, why not? You'll see a couple of these preview shows sprinkled throughout. I like giving people a chance to see what CWK Pour-Over is about, and hopefully you'll be encouraged and intrigued and might want to join us on CWK Pour-Over as a member of the CWK Alliance. A special thank you to our official travel partner, MEI Travel and Mouse Van Travel. Looking to plan your next magical vacation to Walt Disney World, Disneyland, or even a Disney cruise? Want to explore Galaxy's Edge or attend Star Wars Celebration? Becky Mankin and her team will get you there with a no-cost, no-obligation quote and the kind of peace of mind we all appreciate. Learn more at coffeewithkenobi.com/mousefantravel. If you enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share the show with your fellow Star Wars friends. You can find us on social media or visit coffeewithkenobi.com for articles, merch, and more ways to connect. Until next time, I'm Dan Zare, and this is the podcast you're looking for. For all things Star Wars, news, reviews, videos, and more, head to our home base, coffeewithkenobi.com. Don't forget to join the CWK Cafe on Facebook at coffeewithkenobi.com/community, our family-friendly, spoiler-free group for all your Star Wars thoughts, comments, and conversation. This podcast is possible thanks to the incredible support of the CWK Alliance. Want to help keep the show brewing? For as little as $1 a month, you can join the CWK Alliance and get access to CWK Pour-Over, our exclusive weekly audio and video podcast. Learn more at coffeewithkenobi.com/CWK Alliance. And know this, 10% of your monthly contributions goes directly to the St. Jude Children's Hospital. Want to connect? You can email me at danz@coffeewithkenobi.com. Follow me on X at Mr. Zare, MRZEHR, Instagram, Threads, at DanZareCWK, and Blue Sky. I'm also on LinkedIn. You can follow Coffee with Kenobi across social media on X, Instagram, Threads, Pinterest, and Blue Sky, and give us a like on Facebook at facebook.com/coffeewithkenobi. And if you want to send an email to the show, you can email us feedback at coffeewithkenobi.com. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, where you'll find over 700 videos, including past live shows, events, and this podcast. Please take a moment to rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It really helps more Star Wars fans find our little corner of the galaxy. Do you need a speaker for your next event? Visit danzmedia.com. I love to discuss mythology, leadership, storytelling, or create something tailored to your audience. And finally, grab your CWK gear at coffeewithkenobi.com/shop and show your support in style.
This podcast is not endorsed by the Walt Disney Company or Lucasfilm Limited. It is intended for entertainment and informational purposes only. The official Star Wars website can be found at www.starwars.com. Star Wars, all names, sounds, and any other Star Wars-related items are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of Disney and their respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of Coffee with Kenobi unless otherwise indicated.
This is the podcast you're looking for.
There's no one here. Move along. Move along.